Brian Pessaro joins us right now, the principal planner for TBARTA. And these people have been studying the, transportation options. And, you've had light rail and all those other things for so long. But they're looking into new ones like the hyperloop and the gondola systems. And, Brian, you guys have, what have you found out about these? Is the hyperloop something that's going to be in our future, traveling at 500 to 700 miles an hour?
Well, good morning. I also want to point out it's not just hyperloop and gondolas we're looking at. We're also looking at air taxis.
Yeah.
But to get to your question about hyperloop, based on the interviews that we've done with manufacturers and developers, there is so much research and development money being poured into this that it's really a matter of, it's not so much a question of if, but when.
And about how soon could it be a possibility, say in the Bay Area? Are we talking 10, 15, 20 years or what?
Well, that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? 2030 is the earliest date that we've heard so far about hyperloop being in operation. And that's not necessarily in the Tampa Bay area, but anywhere. 2030 is about the earliest date that we've heard.
I want to continue to be on the record that I think air taxis are a bad idea.
I love it.
I got to be on the record with that.
I love the air taxi idea. That's more practical, and that could be happening much sooner, right?
From what we've heard, we'll probably see small-scale demonstration projects within the next 5 years and stage implementation within 10 years. The interesting thing about air taxis, I think what you might, because, when you think of air taxis, that's point-to-point travel. From what we've been hearing, what we may see initially is what they call air metro, where this would be 10 to 70-mile air corridors with predetermined scheduled routes. To kind of put that in perspective, if we're talking 10 to 70-mile air corridors, it's 21 miles from TPA to Clearwater Beach, 58 miles from Tampa to Sarasota. So it would be like those type of trips.
How are you working already with the FAA to make sure this could actually happen?
TBARTA, personally, we're not working with the FAA, but we've been talking with folks from FAA and even with NASA. NASA is very heavily involved with this concept, what they call urban air mobility. And based on the interviews that we've had with them, they've all acknowledged that there's work that's going to need to be done to develop a framework for how all these aircraft are going to interact with one another.
And the other one, then, the gondolas, that'll be more of a tourist thing, won't it?
Well, surprisingly, gondolas have been around for centuries. So the technology itself is not new. What is new is the idea of using them not for tourism, but in an urban setting. There's a number of cities around the world that have done this. For example, Medellin in Colombia, Rio de Janeiro. Within the United States, there's only 2 urban gondola systems currently. One is out in Portland, and the other one is on Roosevelt Island in New York City. That one's actually been around since the 70s.
Yeah, and of course they've got them at Disney now.
That's true.
Running between some of the parks and hotels. But anyway, Brian, we'll be talking to you later about other things that are going to be happening from a transportation viewpoint, and one of them obviously being light rail. That's something we've been talking about for years, but we'll get around to that later. But thank you for joining us on AM Tampa Bay this morning.
All right, you have a great day.